Welcome, everyone. As one news anchor once said, I welcome you in the spirit of lockdown level 1. As it's already been indicated, my name is Isaac Motale. I'm representing a Ruetech group of companies for today, and we'll be addressing issues around border management. And let me categorically start by saying, even though we say border management, the technology and some of the applicable implementation of this stuff is basically based on the premise of anything to do with parameter monitoring. I'd like to take you through and who owns us and all of these things. We're part of a Ruetech group of companies. Within the Ruetech group of companies, there's 3 divisions, 3 groups, CBI Electrical. I'll get into the companies that are linked to this Nashua from the ICT's perspective. And I basically come and represent the Defense and Allied Electronics, which is the Ruetech group of companies. I'll just quickly open up all the slides. Yeah, there we go. The Nashua group, obviously, you all know the Nashua brand for office automation. Within there, there's also Pen Solution, which used to do the Panasonic, still does Panasonic printers and solution. The Skywire, as well as ECN in there, which does all the wireless and VoIP solution. Quincy Capital, which offers all the financing for all the printers and all the services that the companies, but it's basically our internal bank. If you move over to CBI, renowned for, if you go right now and open up your switch, your DB board, chances are you'll find the CBI switch in your DB board. That's what they're renowned for. African cables, low voltage, as well as telecoms cable, both fiber and copper. We also have a property company as well that has a list of portfolios within the group. And I'm going to focus now on our group, which is Ruetech. Within the Ruetech stable, PTY Ltd, there's Ruetech Comms, which specializes in tactical comms. Radar, self-explanatory. Solutions, I think it's also self-explanatory. We have Fuchs and Doptech, that's our fuses business. Omnigo, PCB and all related stuff, your harnesses and looms and all of that. Nanotech from an encryption perspective. Ryonics, pipeline inspection robots. Blue Nova, renewable batteries, and Terrafirma, renewable solutions. The topic for today, the local sovereign partner for defense border management, safety and security. As I've indicated before, border management, the reason why we chose this topic is that as part of the PPGI, the Private Public Growth Initiative under the presidency, as a defense industry, we were recognized. And one of the key things was that, what is it that we're going to offer in this regard? And I think it was an overwhelming yes amongst all defense companies that border security is one area where, as a defense industry, we have so much value to add in this regard. And as I've indicated before, border security deals with issues of sovereignty. Safety and security also hampers and jumps on top of all of those things as well. Now, in Ruetech, we started obviously from a diversification. I think most of the speakers before me from the DoD, Mr. Mketi, as well as Dr. Kanyele, they all indicated the dire circumstances that our industry finds ourselves in the sense that the local buyer has no means to buy any of these things that we need to be developing. Therefore, we need to look into this export market. However, what Dr. Kanyele also indicated in his presentation is spoke of consolidation. I would use a different word, and that is collaboration. We need to build solutions. They have to exist first before we can say we're going to compete on the international market. It defeats the purpose to talk about things that we know we're capable of doing as an industry, yet because of that collaborative effort, we are unable to build and demo some of these things, because while we wait for South Africa, hopefully things turning around, both from an economy as well as everything else, if BMA has already promulgated, and it's an institution that already exists, has to start procuring technologies, has to start doing these things, it defeats the purpose to go to BMA and say, as a defense industry, we're capable of this thing, versus demonstrating something. And that's what has been happening with this collaboration that I'm talking about. In the next slide, what I want to show from a collaborative perspective is what we've been doing within the group. Because even us traditionally, even though we're one group of companies, we've been working in silos. And the depletion of funds by the DoD and the difficult export market, where you have serious competitors, has forced us to work together as a team. I need to go to the next slide. The next slide basically talks about surveillance, data fusion, and situational awareness. Now, there's a slide, almost 2-3 slides from this one, where I will explain how all of these integrate. But ultimately, it's about multi-sensors that are used to integrate air, land, and sea domain monitoring systems for detection of defined targets, fusing that information together and classifying the threats to create situational awareness. And most importantly, because you are able to identify and classify your threats, effective response is critical. You do not want to send 2 police officers to a robbery where there's 20 armed guys with AK-47s. And that is why fusing of this data becomes critical, and integration of all these sensors is key in giving an effective response to a situation. This picture basically just shows from a fusion, from a data fusion perspective. This is one of Ruetech radar where they were playing with some of the technologies that have been deployed, where you're able to get visualization, and that's very important, visualization of all these threats that exist. And you're able to classify them using that fusion capability. For example, if for example, you have a radar that's observing a port for security reasons, if the AIS is on and there's a ship transponder that is off, the radar is able to pick it up. However, that ship could not be, it could be a rogue ship or not. The transponder on the ship could be broken or not. Now, how do you then link the 2 scenarios where the radar picks it up, but the AIS, because remember, the radar would probably be the domain of the defense in this space, because again, territorial integrity, and your transponder would be your ports authority, the integration of that information, because at some point, one has to alert the other one to say there is something out there that we're not seeing from our side, and the other one will say there's something from that side that we see. And that's where the fusion of the situational awareness information becomes critical. Now, all of this technology that I've just mentioned, all the sensors, in all their capabilities and the offering that they bring into this integrated platform, means absolutely nothing without communication. Because telecoms is not only crucial, but it's a prerequisite for effective border and security management system. Now, that said, I'd like to also almost conclude now. For someone who has verbal diarrhea, to be given 15 minutes, it's almost torture. So I'm trying to go through this as fast as possibly I can. Now, what would you get when you deal with a group like Ruetech from a capability point of view? We have Ruetech Comms, capability to design, manufacture mil-spec tactical radio, VHF, HF. Now, on all those remote areas where there's no communications, no LTE, no network, they have partnered with other OEM to provide mesh networks. So we're able to get situational awareness for the people that at that specific area, at that specific time. Ruetech radar, design, manufacture, supply, install radars and related sensory systems. That's our sensor house. You have Ruetech Solutions. They design, supply, install, maintain not just legacy networks in this country, fiber networks, satellites, microwave networks, provisioning of power supply, integration of Internet of Things and everything devices as well, because that's what you need in terms of that data infusion. They also have the ability to and the capability to design and manufacture remote control weapon stations. Again, that's part of your effector in an environment that is very remote. Very strong integration, integrated log support capability. We have nanotech. This information has to be transported over the network securely and stored securely as well. That's where nanotech comes in terms of developing high-level cryptography technologies as well. We have Omnigo. Any IoT device that one can design, they're able to develop it because they're an electronics contract manufacturer. Automated and manual PC board assembly, develop test equipment, rapid develop testing equipment. They have this, the capability, 2 client specification, manufacturings of cable, looms and harnesses. And within the Ruetech group again, we're able to supply, install, maintain voice network, office equipment, data storage, cloud solution, renewable solutions. So basically what I'm saying is that collaboration is the way of the future for our industry. We have no choice. My next step from here on is to start engaging organizations like CSIR with their CIMO platform, because in as much as we are a sensory company and we can do all of these things, we still need partners in this regard. And I'd like to make a plea to anyone who's bothering to listen to these things that we are open to collaboration. And I'm making a plea personally to say, colleagues in the industry, dual use of our technology is becoming critical. This private security market, it's almost a 55 billion rand industry just in South Africa, and we're ignoring it. And they can benefit from some of the technologies that we can offer as a defense industry. I thank you.